Washington. What happened in Washington?
It died in committee.
It died in committee. Now, again, Tommy from Oregon got involved and helped. Joe got involved and helped. And who was the contact in Washington that took point for us, Joe?
Joe Baba. Joe Baba is the leader for the Washington Advocacy, and I want you to know that man has done a great job. I have a string of emails, daily updates as they were going through that process. And actually, if you give me just a second, I'm going to bring up the very last email that he sent me, which was this morning.
No, Kahuna Roy, you're right. He won't stop. He won't stop. And thank you for the email, Kahuna. We'll check it after the show. And Joe's going to bring up that email, folks, but we're also going to show a video of what happened in Washington this week, and it's about 15 minutes worth of video. So hold on, we'll get there in a second.
And I'm just going to summarize what he said in it. He thanked everybody who came through, and they had a rally on on Saturday on the Capitol steps. Representative Murray, Wrinkle, Hunt, and Wilcox came and spoke. It was, for the majority, a very successful rally. I'm going to show you the speech here in just a moment about it. And then he continues to go on and says that there's still more to do, that there are some people in the Democratic district that still oppose this, and he still wants people to write and call these people, thanking them for opposing the bill, and the people who were in support of the bill. He still wants people to call them and say, by the way, we think that was a bad idea.
Yeah, exactly. So those of you that are writing emails, writing letters, don't stop. Philadelphia still needs them, and we just got to continue writing letters. Once the sessions are over, we don't just go away for 6 months. The reason Oklahoma was successful is because Sean and Courtney and the team have been working for 6 months. The reason that we're having some successes in Minnesota is because the shop association hired a lobbyist, and we got in the doors. We got in late. We haven't won in Minnesota by any way, shape, or form. We still have a lot of work to do over the next week and a half. But we got in late, and we'll talk about Minnesota after the top of the hour. Joe, do you want to run that video for Washington? Let's cut that video now.
Yep, let's go ahead and take a look at it. So this is footage of the speech that was given from on the steps in Washington. It's taken by a user that's standing at the bottom of the steps. Video quality is not excellent, but the speech is what I really want you guys to pay attention to.
So listen up, everybody.
It's not tobacco. Vaping is a brand new, advanced technology, and the legislature needs to know about that. The taxes side, as I just said, as we all feel, we have voted in this state many times. No new taxes. And these guys just want to tax us to... Oh, no. We're not going to stand up for that, are we? No new taxes. Sales tax is enough. Sales tax is enough. That's right. When it comes to minors, we don't sell to minors. Nobody sells to minors, and we welcome legislation in this state that would make it illegal to sell to minors. So we support that aspect of this bill. And when it comes to jobs, you all know how many people are going to lose their jobs if this bill passes. Taking our e-liquid and quadrupling the price of it to our consumers is going to prevent a lot of sales. A lot of us are going to be out of business, and a lot of people are going to lose jobs. Washington legislature, you should be promoting jobs for small businesses, not killing small businesses. So with that said, I'm going to introduce you to Stu Halson, our lobbyist, and then to our legislators.
Thank you, Joe. This has come a long way in just a week. I was contacted by Joe just about a week ago saying, hey, would you like to work for Washington Vape? At that time, actually, we didn't even have a name. We were trying to decide what to call this organization. This organization is working and will be working into the future to advocate for the vaping community, for vapors, for retailers, for manufacturers in the state of Washington. It's an important new industry. As a matter of fact, I was a smoker when Joe contacted me.
Did we lose it?
Equipment. Haven't had a cigarette in a week. But that's not an unusual thing. You've all seen that. I know you've seen that. Now, as Joe mentioned, this changes from day to day. You know, I see some of you have signs, 75% times nothing is nothing. 2 days ago, that was it. Bill started out 95%, then to try and get more votes, they put it to 75%. Just yesterday morning, then they came up with one that they thought, well, maybe we can get votes to this one, and it changed it to 8 cents per milligram of nicotine. Now, I'm not sure that some of them actually knew what that was, because they saw, like, on a bottle, they saw, okay, this is 12 milligrams, which is what I got, okay, 8 times 12. They didn't realize it's 12 milligrams of nicotine per milliliter. So that little 15 milliliter bottle that, you know, like just last night, I picked up one 24 milligram, 15 milliliter bottle for $9 down in Centralia, where I'm from. That would have a tax on it of $28.80. It's getting worse by day, but it's so important that you're here. I really do appreciate it. And now I'll introduce some of our legislators here. Joe, who do you want to bring up first? You're actually the biggest fighter on this thing in the House right now, and the only Democrat on committee who voted no on the bill as it went out, Representative Chris Reichdahl, the 20th District.
Well, the first thing I want to do is say thank you to you guys. Thank you for being here. I want to say thank you for changing your lives by choosing a product that is so much safer than what so many of you were experiencing before this. You have done something miraculous for yourselves and your families. And here's the thing I got to get my colleagues to understand. You're saving the state billions of dollars in healthcare costs down the road by vaping. Now, you heard Stu talk about the evolution of the bill, but I just want to get to a couple of points where a Democrat like myself can be in a situation where I am fighting tooth and nail, literally around the clock, to keep any more tax on this product. Number one, my mother died of lung cancer. I am absolutely convinced that if she had been vaping for her 30 years of smoking, she'd be here today and she'd see her grandchildren, which she never met. And they're here today, by the way. You go beyond the personal and you say, what is a liberal Democrat doing not wanting to tax something? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I believe in fair taxation. I believe in a state that has our 1% paying less than 3% tax, but folks who are less than $20,000 a year in income paying 17 or 18% in tax is just wrong. And every national study will tell you the reason Washington State is so out of balance with the other states in terms of our tax fairness is right at the left side of that curve, right where the lowest income families sit, are sin taxes. Alcohol, tobacco, and others. And that's what makes this state impossible for those who have been hooked on cigarettes to actually go out and buy a health care plan, for example. So I want to give you a real-world example. My brother-in-law is 40 years old. He's been smoking for 25 years. He had his daughter 2 years ago. She just turned 2 on February 28th. She's actually a leap year baby. He tried for the first year to quit smoking, and he said, I know I have to quit smoking. A, it's not healthy for me, it's not healthy for her, and I don't want her to see me smoking. He said, but I tried it. He tried the Nicorette. He tried the patch. He did everything he could. Nothing worked. And then he vaped. And he said it is a totally different world. So not only is he healthier, and his daughter is healthier, a year later he's saving $250 a month by not paying outrageous taxes and prices to big tobacco. But it's better than that. Because he said, I've never had health insurance in my entire life, and with $250 a month, I might have an opportunity to do that. We sat down on the Affordable Health Care Act website 2 months ago, and he got health insurance for the first time in his life. How was he able to afford that? Because he's vaping, that's why. So we're going to come along as a legislature legislature and say to somebody, you did everything we wanted you to do. We wanted you to stop smoking. We wanted to save you costs. We wanted you to have more disposable income. We wanted you to support small business. And we wanted you to buy your own health care plan. He did all of that, and the answer now is, I'm sorry, we got to tax you some more. No way. No way. Not going to happen. I'll close with this. If this is about addiction, if this is a simple approach to tax addiction, why is a package of cigarettes taxed at roughly 65%? A six-pack of beer is taxed at 6%. It's 43 cents. Now, last time I checked, an 18-year-old can grab a six-pack of beer down an hour and go kill somebody on the highway. I've never seen anybody kill someone with a vapor, by the way. Never seen that. So we're going to take the two unhealthy choices and gateways of alcohol and tar-based tobacco, and we're going to tax them less than the one choice that has no public health risk to us? Not going to happen, folks. I will stand with my brothers and sisters on the Republican side of the aisle and a bunch of us that we are building on the Democratic side of the aisle, and we will do everything we can to kill this bill this year. And I really appreciate Joe. I really appreciate Joe, who says this industry is committed more than anybody else to not selling to youth, because when we get that clearly established in policy, there are no arguments left. God bless you guys. Keep it up.
Well, I don't know about the biggest fighter, but he sure packs a wallop, doesn't he? Good morning, or afternoon, I guess now. I'm State Representative Graham Hunt. My seatmate JT's here. I believe he wants to say some words along with some other representatives here. I look at this from a very simple approach, guys. How many of you own vaping stores? Okay, thank you. How many of you employ people? How many of you are creating jobs? Now let's keep those jobs, huh? You're talking about a tax that's going to kill jobs. You're talking about a tax that is going to take revenue from the state, which is what this entire organization wants to do, is tax, and needs to tax to have government. But you're talking about taking this and throwing money to online sales, throwing money out of the state of Washington, putting business out of business, killing jobs, all because somebody wants to vape. And out of, you guys are going to think that I'm funny because I don't have these cool vapor guns that you do. But I went and bought a vape just for the sake of doing it. And so I'm not a smoker, but I went and bought one. So in my camera. I'm still alive. And by the way, they don't taste half bad. Wait till I get a real one. So, thanks. I just appreciate you coming out here and standing in the rain, coming down. I'm sorry that the House is out today. The Senate, I believe, is here. But I appreciate you coming down and willing to take part in this legislative process and sending a message. Now it's time to hold your representatives accountable. It's time to hold them accountable. We don't want to kill jobs. We need jobs. We don't need to be taxing and killing small business any more than we do already. And it's time to send a message, and I'm so glad that you're here. So thank you for coming.
Well, welcome everybody. My name is Dick Muir. I'm State Representative from the 28th District. I'm 60 years old. I've been against smoking for 45 years. My mom smoked and I hated it. And when I left home at age 17, unfortunately my brothers and sisters got her to quit smoking a few years later, and that probably what saved their life and why she lived a normal life. I've been against smoking a lot of years, and my degree's in public health, and I was on the Pierce County Council, and I actually was chairman of the health board. I was on the health board for 8 years in Tacoma, Pierce County. And in January of 2010, we had proposed regulations then in the health department that would have put vaping stores out of business because it would have made vaping the equivalent to cigarettes, and that meant you couldn't vape indoors. How can you sell a product if you can't even show it indoors? It would have been crazy legislation. But at the time, I'm like, this sounds good to me. Well, that's when I met Steve and Kim Thompson, who quickly educated me, and I went from not only understanding e-cigarettes, but being now a big time for 4 years proponent of e-cigarettes, vaping. And let me tell you why. I actually have friends that smoke, including people like Linda Smith, the chairman of the CEO of the Lakewood Chamber of Commerce, who took me about 6 months to a year, but she finally tried it. That was about 3 years ago, and now she's one of the biggest proponents. She had been smoking for 40 years, had quit smoking about 10 times. She's now quit, and she's now got other people vaping. And so why your industry is growing is not because of advertising, because of word of mouth. And it works. You guys are doing, I said in committee, God's work. And let me tell you what I meant by that. Anybody who could help somebody else be better, be healthier, to me is doing God's work. You are doing what government has been trying to do for years through advertisement and fancy slogans and, you know, whatever you name it. They get people to quit smoking, spending tens of millions of dollars, and you guys are doing it for free. You're doing it to make a profit, but also because you're passionate about your product. Almost everybody who is in the vaping business is a former smoker, and you're passionate about it. You want to not only grow your business, but you want other people to quit smoking. So God bless, keep what you're doing, and we're going to kill this bill.
My name's JT Wilcox, and you know, we've gotten a little bit interested in this over the last week or so as this sort of came out of nowhere and was so obviously unfair. But there's someone here that I think deserves a lot more credit than the rest of us, because he's been involved in this at the county level for the last 4 years, and I know a lot of you know him. He just spoke before me, Dick Murray. And Dick, you know, in the political world, it's easy to grab an issue that looks hot and get popular for a few weeks, but not that many people stick with it for 4 years. And Dick's the kind of guy that does, and I'm so glad for all of you that we had someone down here who knew this issue backwards and forwards already, and he's been a huge help to all of us. You know, one of the things that happens around here, it's a beautiful building, and it honestly does feel special to walk in here, and it's an honor. But then you get here and you find out that a lot of what is happening here is this constant search for who can we tax more. And in general, what they do is they try to find unpopular groups or people that aren't organized, and especially people that don't have a paid mouthpiece to come down here and fight for them. And they thought that that was going to happen with all of you, but it didn't, did it? Man. It's so hard for people to get organized. You know, this is a group of working people, and you know, that's probably why you had a rally on a Saturday, right? You know, every year there's some really fascinating and unexpected things that happen. For me, that was this vaping bill. First of all, that it came out of nowhere, but second of all, that you have become so effective advocates for yourself, your hobby, your avocation, and your business. And nobody expected, I think, when they scheduled this hearing, that you were going to overwhelm those hearing rooms with people that felt as passionate as you did. And you're just... It was kind of fun sitting in that committee hearing, just watch panel after panel come up. And you can see that some of you were working pretty hard to kind of keep it together and not say what you really thought. Actually, it doesn't hurt us around here to hear what people really think sometimes, because we don't get enough of that. We're going to do our best. We're going to fight this thing hard. I think it's going to be very difficult for the proponents to get this through the House and the Senate, because it just, you know, fails the laugh test. It's obviously unfair. They obviously thought that you were a powerless group that they could pick on, and you've proven that you can't. So keep going. I don't know who's next.
Drip. You got a free hand? You got a free hand? Hold that for me.
Is Johnson around? There you are.
Whoa.
Hi, you guys. For those spaces I don't know, I'm Jim. I own the Big 4 amp. And I just want you all to know. I want you to know that this is just the first day of the rest of our days for this activism, and it's not going to stop here even if this bill does get killed. I'm so proud of my community, or this community that I'm involved with, and all the vape shop owners that have come together to really create something that's going to move forward. And I just want to tell you, Washington State vapors are like no vapors in this nation, and we're going to take this all the way across the country.
Thank you, Kim, and all the legislative body that spoke today, to Stuart. And most of all, thank you, people, for taking the time to come here. We have manufacturers, distributors, retailers, and fellow vapors here. We're a community that's going to be growing. They're going to hear from us again and again. So thank you for coming today. So vape on.
Yeah, I tried not to put too much into the footage as anybody was coming into it if you hadn't seen it, but it's an extremely wonderful thing to find a group of people that reiterate the very messages that we've been putting out from the very beginning, that this on vaping and on our community. So I really thank the people in Washington for stepping up and doing what they did.
And we know that that was a long video, but I think we thought it was important that everybody see that, because it really did say exactly, it fell in the line with what we're trying to do here. With that in mind,